Hello again, friend. I want to talk to you today about 7 reasons why Jesus was not poor. 7 reasons why Jesus was not poor. Ecclesiastes chapter number 9 and verse 16 declares this, that a poor man's wisdom is despised. In other words, people they don't tend to listen to anybody that doesn't have anything to show for it. You know, when you look at people that have a lot of wealth or a lot of money, many times those people can draw crowds and people want to hear what they have to say. But you can be poor and have the right thing to say and have a lot of wisdom, but people say, well, because you don't have nothing to show for it, we don't really want to hear you. And that's Ecclesiastes 9 and 16. Well, Jesus was not poor because he had crowds of people following him. In the sermon, when he preached the Sermon on the Mount in the book of Matthew, we find that crowds followed him in the desert places. In one instance, there were 5,000 men that he fed with 5 loaves and 2 fish. They followed him because he was one that didn't speak as the Pharisees and the scribes, but he spoke as one that had authority. So he was a very wise man, and the wisdom that came and flowed from out of his mouth, they wanted to hear what he had to say. So obviously, as we're going to continue on down, you'll find that he had something to show for what he was saying. Matthew chapter number 2 and verse 11 declares this, Jesus was not poor and couldn't have been poor because even as a child there came wise men and brought him gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Think about it, friend. You know, many times we see the 3 wise men, and we just take it for granted that there were only 3 because of the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh. But when you read Matthew 2 and 11, you find out that the Bible doesn't specifically say how many wise men there were. It just simply says wise men. So that could have been anywhere from 2 to an unlimited number. But we do know this, that they brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Another reason that Jesus was not poor, Luke chapter number 8 declares that Jesus received funding from women that he had helped, and also from many others, the Bible says. So therefore he was getting funding. Another reason that Jesus could not have been poor is because John 12 and 6, and even on over to 13 and 29, we find that Jesus had a treasurer. He had a treasurer. Now, you don't need a treasurer for just $3.25, but you need a treasurer if there's a lot of money, and also his treasurer was a thief. So in order for the money not to be recognized as have been stolen, there had to have been quite a bit in there, because the Bible says Judas stole from the bag. In other words, he was stealing out of the treasury, but yet it went unnoticed. So there had to have been enough there. Matthew chapter number 17 and verse 24, Jesus paid his taxes as well as Peter's. And not only did he pay their taxes, but he also paid it with miracle money. He told Peter to go fishing, and the first fish that he caught, to pay his taxes and Peter's. And so Jesus couldn't have been poor because he paid his taxes. We also find that Jesus could not have been poor because Luke 2 and 52 declares this, that the favor of God was on his life. The favor of God was on his life. The Bible says that Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature, and he grew in favor with God and man. See, favor can give you what money can't. See, it was favor that allowed Jesus to tell Peter, when Peter was toiling and working, trying to catch something for his fishing business, but didn't catch anything in Luke chapter 5, and he became frustrated, but Jesus said, launch out into the deep and throw your net out for a draught. And when Peter went out again, he said, nevertheless, at thy word, I'll go out and cast the net out. And he went out and caught 2 boatloads full of fish. Well, he was toiling and struggling, so work itself did not bring in what he needed, but favor did, because favor was on Jesus' life. And that's the type of favor that Jesus, when money was not enough, Jesus had the favor of God on his life. The miracle of the 5 loaves and 2 fish, the miracle where he fed the 4,000. Time and time again we find that the favor of God was manifested in his life. Jesus could not have been poor, last but not least, because he was a giver. Everywhere he went, he gave, until finally he gave his life. He gave his life for mankind. And Luke 6 and 38 says, give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you mete, it shall be measured unto you again. Jesus was a giver, so he could not have been poor, because he's still receiving back today. He's receiving souls. He's receiving mankind back from when God the Father planted his Son and sowed his Son. He reaped back a family of believers. Thank you very much.